Even gezien?
Asira varanahid.
Me voltocht en gehedven. Me vertruv het een bellenglik.
Visedein ib kieseret. Net en verbtene. Het en krisa. Do you know what this is?
I know.
Who it is?
Triss Merigold. Until recently advisor to King Foltest. Artifact compression. A complicated spell.
Is she alive?
Her life processes are on hold, but it is reversible. Though, very difficult.
You created a portal between Loc Muinne and Nilfgaard. You should manage the figurine.
Stand back. I cannot be sure how her body will react to decompression.
No pentagrams, candles, spilt blood.
It figures you'd know little about magic, Ambassador. It matters not.
We need her alive, Asira. Make sure her body survives decompression well.
I'll do what I can. But she will be disoriented for some time. What is your name? Oh! Tell me your name. Triss!
Vise getocht gedein. Vise espet eb wovret. Dartocht eb nedling derien. Mehen eveneens eb turin. Me pöft en alverdeg. Merigold. Your name is Triss Merigold.
I recognize this valley. This path leads to the city gates. We're almost there.
Harpy tracks everywhere. When were you here last?
A long time ago by your measure.
That was a quite dense cinematic there. That man is absolutely crazy.
King, we're wasting time. These mountains have witnessed the fall of two civilizations. First that of the Vrown, then of ours, the Ancient.
I like that Iorveth is using a bow when he's in the distance.
They may be about to witness the fall of a third. Did the elves conquer the Vrangs?
When does it end?
No, disease did, and the climate. Long ago, the sources of the Pontar did not freeze over and flowed all year. Flowers still bloomed on these slopes in Velen.
Black ones.
Knights of the Flaming Rose at a peace summit.
I wonder whose side they're on.
On that of whoever paid them.
Oh, okay. Not.
Any idea who might have summoned them?
Radovid. Now the scum of the Order wear the Redanian coat of arms as they burn pyres. Witch hunts are their favorite pastime, or so I've heard.
Radovid witnessed what the Order did in Vizima. He saw the Grand Master's madness with his own eyes. Yet he gave them a new home. For a good reason, I expect.
That's easy. He needed a whip against Islehart.
They've made camp outside the city walls. Means they're not here in an official capacity.
Are they on vacation?
Maybe they just don't want to stand out.
Islehart has a dragon up her sleeve. Radovid has invited a unit of the Order's knights.
Don't forget Sheila and Henselt.
It should be an interesting peace summit.
Peace indeed. All this probably won't end well.
You shouldn't let them see you.
I know. To them, a good elf is a dead elf.
It's not because you're an elf. It's because you're Iorveth.
I'll try to enter the city through the caves. I'd advise you to do the same.
The knights will know I'm wanted. You know of a passage?
I know of a cave nearby. There are many ways to enter Loc Muinne, my friend. If Radovid has summoned the Order, I'm certain the others have brought their armies as well. The city must be full of soldiers. All of them sitting as if on a witch's bomb, waiting for a spark. But that may be to our advantage. If the rulers have holed themselves up in camps, it should be easy to move about between them.
Let's go before we get noticed.
Follow Iorveth or take a look at Order's camp. Oh, that's interesting. Will they attack me as a assassin of Foltest if I go there? Behold the last part of the story about Geralt and the Assassins of Kings. In his search for the kidnapped Triss Merigold and the treacherous Scylla de Tanserville, Geralt arrived at Loc Muinne, an ancient city once inhabited by the elves. The Witcher was in the company of Iorveth. Truly, should Geralt lead a manticore on a leash, he would attract less attention from onlookers. Meanwhile, the irony! Knights of the Order of the Flaming Rose made camp by the city gates. There was no way an elf, nay, one of the most famous and most wanted Scoia'tael, got through that gate without being accosted by the knights. Iorveth turned from the path in order to find another way into the city, and Geralt faced the dilemma: to follow him or take a look around the camp in search for familiar faces from Vizima. I don't think the Knights of the Order will be very happy with me. I'm guessing this would be an option if I decided with them in The Witcher 1. And possibly even find that it's been a long while. I don't recall the name of the knight that I could have sided with, but I ended dueling and killed him. So yeah, probably can't go to the camp. Triss Merigold. Geralt reached the ancient elven city of Loc Muinne. Ages earlier, the sorcerer Geoffrey Monk had brought a group of human children gifted with spontaneous magical abilities here for training. Taught by elven wise, the sorcerers became legendary sorcerers who aided the human pioneers. When humans had finally settled the continent, they repaid their debt of gratitude by destroying Loc Muinne and slaughtering its inhabitants. The scenic city ruins now ironically played host to a summit of sorcerers. The Nilfgaardian delegation was also taking part, and the Black Ones had brought the kidnapped Triss Merigold with them. Pondering the fickleness of history, Geralt searched for any trace of the sorceress. Shillard Fitz-Oesternen was the key to her freedom. What is problematic with that is that why they need Triss? Why this Shillard needs Triss? Let's check the whole story of Wergen Besieged here at the end of this video. Wergen Besieged. Geralt awoke in Philip Eilhardt's quarters right in time. Henselt's forces were approaching Wergen to besiege the town. There were precious few heroes who could tilt the battle in Saskia's favor around, so the Witcher had no other choice but to get out of bed and take matters in his own hands. Zoltan Ziwei waited him at the gate. And so the assault began. The very first wave of attackers could destroy the barricade and break through into Wergen's proper. To weaken their resolve, Geralt and Zoltan decided to activate an old dwarven mechanism and pour boiling oil on the attackers. Zoltan ran for the cauldrons on the left, and Geralt hastened to the lever on the right side of the walls. With the skill of consummate engineer, the Witcher activated the mechanism on the walls, and boiling oil rained down on the enemy. This would not stop the Guardvenis completely, but it did thin their numbers and weaken their resolve. The deed done, Geralt raced back to the defenders. Zoltan was waiting for him near the gate. If only conventional weapons were used during the battle, the attackers would be in for it. But there was a sorceress on their side. Deathmold blasted the barricade to bits with his spells. The Guardveni attacked, and the Aedirnias had to retreat. In a bold move, Henselt's soldiers attacked the walls. Geralt was in the first line to repel them. The Witcher didn't have a moment to respite. A second assault came after the first one, and he had to stand firm on his station once more. Henselt has been slapped on the wrist and was licking his wounds. However, that which could not be taken directly could be taken using guile. A secret passage was leading to Wergen, and Saskia was afraid the enemy might find it. Geralt ran to check out the underground corridor. Accompanied by Saskia, Geralt descended into the secret tunnels of the Founders. The defenders suspected that the enemy could use the corridors to launch a treacherous attack from behind. Their suspicions proved correct, for the expedition first encountered Guardveni soldiers and then Deathmold himself, led by a Wergeni traitor. Geralt could not let this opportunity pass and lunged at the sorceress, sword in hand. Yet Deathmold was no fool, and would not stand by idly to be sliced by the Witcher's blade. He fell back to a safe position and attacked Geralt with a spell so malignant that our hero's vision grew dark. Defeated, the Witcher fell to the ground. The dwarven corridors would have been his grave if not for Saskia. The Dragon Slayer shape-shifted, transforming into a dragon, and lunged at Deathmold, causing him to flee. How does Dandelion know this and write it here in the journal, that I wonder? Thus the Witcher learned Saskia's secret. Suddenly the many vague elements of her story began to make sense. It was clear it had been made up from the start. The Dragon Slayer, being a dragon herself, had used the story to shape her image as a fighter for free Pontar Valley, and to hide from humans her rather inconvenient true form. The Witcher, who had miraculously survived, had little time to analyze matters in detail. He had to return to the walls and save Wergen. In the meantime, the Guidebeni mounted a third assault, putting all their forces on the attack. Geralt realized the defenders won't hold for long, but he was determined to fight to the bitter end. Just as defeat loomed inevitably over the defenders, Iorveth returned to Vergen, leading reinforcements with him. The unexpected relief bolstered Saskia's soldiers and they began to cheer. Geralt was as happy as the next man, but he controlled his euphoria. He instantly realized that a great opportunity would be wasted unless he broke through to the Envel leader and joined forces with him. Geralt and Zoltan reached Iorveth now to trap the Guidebenis in the town courtyard. They needed to close the gate. To unblock the gate's mechanism, the dwarf had to hit the lever with all the strength he could muster. Closing the gate reversed the course of the battle. The Aedirnians found new strength, putting Henselt on the defensive and finally forcing him to surrender. Thus ended the War of Upper Eärden. The negotiations with Henselt came to an end. The Aedirnian victory was sealed. Yet, instead of celebrating the victory, Philippa and Saskia left in a hurry without giving an explanation. If you suspect that they had reasons for such behavior, you're right. If you also think that the Witcher managed to meet them before they left Vergen, you are also correct. Geralt and Iorveth followed them. Philippa and Saskia disappeared in a portal without a word of explanation. Geralt decided to search Philippa's quarters, hoping he could find any clues. While searching Philippa Eilhart's quarters, Geralt and Iorveth found a book, tellingly titled Venoms and Poisons. It was dog-eared at pages describing a poison, allowing one to control another's mind. This was not irrefutable evidence, but it did cause certain suspicions that had been forming in our hero's mind to sprout like the beanstalks that wrap around bowls in Dol Plathana. Philippa had not only feigned being the Dragon Slayer's friend, while treating her she had poured her own venom into Saskia, a venom that affected the mind, not the body. In brief, the sorceress had taken control of the dragon's mind. Knowing Philippa, Geralt knew that Lady Eilhart would not hesitate to use her new weapon, so the Witcher and Iorveth conferred and agreed to save Saskia. Among Philippa Eilhart's abandoned possessions, Geralt learned a shocking truth. It turned out it was the sorceress that poisoned the Dragon Slayer. Okay. Our hero had no idea what caused her to do so, but he guessed his finding was a trail of a bigger intrigue and saw all the previous mysteries in a new light. Vergen was triumphant, yet unaware of the heroic Saskia's disappearance, and Geralt and Iorveth began their search. The Witcher was entering the final chapter of the story of the Assassins of Kings. And for that, we will return in the next video.